Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. Over the course of Luffy's journey, he has defeated many different opponents, whether it be for freedom's sake or for overturning an evil government like he did with Crocodile and Alabasta, or even defeating people in the tournament like he did in Dressrosa. But each time, as he's defeated these individuals, he has the uncanny knack of turning those once enemies or rivals into friends. And this has built what we now know as the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. And over time, as Luffy has gained all of these different people willing to battle with him, he's also become this very now powerful Yonko, having multiple crews that are ready to fight beside him. So as Luffy has added allies to his side to fight alongside him, this means that the end of the story fight, that great confrontation that Oda has foreshadowed and said will make Marineford look like just a simple argument, this is definitely gonna tell us and show us the scale that's gonna arise in the future. So in today's video, we're going to talk about Luffy's large grand fleet, how many pirates make up his crew, and we're also going to talk about the possible allies that could end up joining the fleet in the future, fighting in that great battle that will decide the fate of the One Piece world. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like and even subscribe and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out, especially with that old YouTube algorithm, and it continues to motivate us to make more content. If you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or another one of your favorites with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So my friends, the Straw Hat Grand Fleet could honestly be one of the stronger pirate fleets in the world, because a lot of the different representatives and members were main competitors of Luffy's during the Colosseum battle. And these individuals weren't just any other kind of pirate or individual from Dressrosa. These were people who had well-developed skills, and they showed them off during the tournament. In total, the Straw Hat Grand Fleet is made up of 5,650 people from various different tribes and races, being one of the crews that has some of the most versatility and differences in attributes. And it honestly could also be one of the most diverse crews that we have in the world. But to keep in mind, that number could increase even more because of all of the various allies that Luffy has gained throughout the world. Now, these are individuals who might not have looked to join the Straw Hat Grand Fleet for whatever reason, whether they wanted to be pirates or not, or they wanted to stay on their island. But they still would help Luffy in the future if the call came. A great example of this would be the Warriors of Alabasta, who are incredibly grateful for the help Luffy offered in saving their kingdom. Plus, Princess Vivi is a Straw Hat, but she just chose not to go out to sea with them for the sake of her own kingdom and what they needed after the downfall of Crocodile. So if Luffy ever really needed their help, Alabasta's warriors would come together and show up at any large confrontation in the future, allowing Vivi to finally rejoin the Straw Hats. Another interesting ally that could end up joining Luffy and his crew as well for the final battle would be Skypiea. This was another land that was saved by Luffy during the very beginning of his journey. The winged warriors of this island are very numerous and are considerably strong, and with the time skip that happened, there's a possibility that they are stronger still, making it possible for them to fight alongside Luffy and his companions. Now, the reason why so many people would stand up and fight with Luffy is that he always has managed to gain their respect and even sometimes the gratitude of other kingdoms and countries because he helped save them from some powerful enemy that tried to seize their lands or take over their government, allowing them to fight alongside Luffy in the future because Luffy brought them liberation and he seeks to bring liberation to the rest of the world. And this includes the Island of Fishmen, Dressrosa, probably even Wano will all end up uniting with Luffy so that he can achieve his future goal, becoming extremely numerous and probably the most powerful crew we could ever see assembled. Now, at the core of the Grand Fleet, of course, is Luffy and his crewmates, and he has assembled 9 extremely powerful pirates, plus himself, who is considered one of the 4 strongest pirates in the world. Now, these 10 members alone make the Straw Hats probably the most dangerous pirate crew in the world, at least maybe next to Shanks and his crew. However, what really causes Luffy to be considered a great danger to the world is his large fleet that is spread around the world, currently spreading fame for Luffy and the rest of the Straw Hats. Leading the Grand Fleet are the 7 fleet commanders, who are each extremely powerful and formidable fighters, with 5 of them being strong enough to defeat Doflamingo's pirates that they cross swords with while on Dressrosa. So let's take a second and talk about each of the different fleet divisions and their captain, and even talk a little bit about the ships or other assets that they bring to the table. The commander of the first division of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet is Cavendish, and he is captain of the Beautiful Pirates, having 75 under his command, and they sail on a ship called the White Horse of the Sleeping Forest. The second fleet commander, but first fan of Luffy, is of course Bartolomeo. Now, he's the captain of the Bardo Club crew and has 56 pirates under his command. Their ship is called the Going Luffy Senpai, making a clear reference to the pirate pirate who inspired them and changed his life. Bringing a lot of soldiers to the table, the third commander of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet is Sai, and he is captain of the Armada Hoppo Pirates, and there are 1,000 people in his command, in addition to having multiple ships that sail together. Our fourth fleet kind of swaps quantity for quality, and this is captained by Hideo, who captains 4 very powerful pirates under his command, and they sail on the ship the Nita Maria. The fifth commander of the Grand Fleet is the leader of the Tontada pirates, Leo, having 200 Tontada dwarves that fight alongside him. Leo currently leads one ship called the Usoland. The sixth commander of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet may come into much more prominence in the next arc after Egghead Island, and that is Harjude, leader of the new giant warrior pirates, a crew that may only have 5 members, but all 5 members are powerful giants that sail the seas with their ship called the Naglfar. And finally, the 7th fleet commander of the Straw Hats is of course Alombus, and he has a large fleet called the Yonta Maria, having 4,300 pirates, in addition to having 55 ships at his command. So as we can see, if Luffy needed to assemble just his grand fleet, this is something that would be quite on the scale of any other Yonko in the world. Fleets the size where maybe even the Navy would avoid coming into conflict with them. Just for comparison, Edward Newgate, known as the Great Pirate Whitebeard, had one of the largest crews ever, having 16 fleets in total, each fleet bringing hundreds if not thousands to Whitebeard's crew. In ascending order, the leaders of each division were Marco, Ace, Diamond, Thatch, Vista, Flamenco, Rakuyo, Namur, Blenheim, Curiel, Kingdu, Haruta, Atmos, Jiru, Fasa, and Izo, being the most powerful pirates of all of Whitebeard's commanders. In addition to Whitebeard's fleet, he also had several powerful allies that would help him during times where he really needed. A good example of this is when he went to Marineford to try and rescue Ace. He had several other pirates come to his aid just to save Ace. Another crew that we could compare to would be Big Mom, because she had multiple pirates and all of her children that made up her various fleets. And a select few of Big Mom's children particularly stand out in terms of power, as they've been designated as the 3 Sweet Commanders. These children serve as Big Mom's top officials with the highest authority, and the trio currently consists of second son Katakuri, 14th daughter Smoothie, and 10th son Cracker. Previously, there were actually 4 Sweet Commanders, with the 25th son Snack being a part of it, but once he was defeated by a Rouge of the worst generation, he ended up being demoted from his post. Aside from the 3 Sweet Commanders, we also have 74 of Big Mom's 85 children that are officers of the Big Mom Pirates, and they're considered among the elite of Big Mom's army. 4 of them, being Prospero, Compote, Daifuku, and Oven, are extremely powerful characters and are almost on par with the 3 Sweet Commanders themselves. Now, if we're going to talk about Whitebeard or Big Mom, we of course got to take a moment to talk about Kaido, who is one of the Yonkos with probably the largest crew currently until they were defeated on Wano. However, the most important detail when discussing Kaido's crew is the amount of information we have about them. Under the captain, who of course was Kaido, we had the All-Stars, who were pirates responsible for commanding everyone else, being the strongest of the crew, second only to Kaido himself in position, authority, and even prowess in battle, serving as Kaido's hand-picked confidants and protectors. The 3 men who previously held the post were King, Queen, and Jack, informally being called the Calamities by their respective epithets, each corresponding to a different type of disaster that they represented. Jack was referred to as the Drought for his general destructiveness and his ability to render any land that he invaded ruined, as if a drought had occurred. Queen was referred to as the Plague for his expertise in creating various artificial diseases and different scientific advancements. And King was called the Wildfire because of his natural ability to ignite and manipulate fire on his body. Below the All-Stars, we had the Tobiropo, who were a special group of the 6th strongest lower group, and that consisted of 5 people being Page 1, Ulti, Who's Who, Black Maria, and Sasaki, with the former 6th member X Drake being an infiltrator in the crew because of course he's a member of SWORD. Under the command of the Tobiropo were the Shinuchi, and these were the 2nd rank officers of the crew, most of whom were either elite gifters and were responsible at least for leading lesser pirates. Below the Shinuchi, we have the Gifters, elite soldiers of the crew composed of almost 500 users of artificial Zoan smile fruits, and they have Zoan-like abilities equipped with various strengths or bodily attributes of animals. The gifters were then divided into different divisions, some being the armored divisions, where they were led by Sasaki, the Tobiropo, where they had very powerful defense and armored-type smile abilities based on animals with hard shells or skins, such as rhinos, scorpions, and hedgehogs. Below the gifters, we had the pleasures, and these were individuals who had been given faulty smile fruits and never developed their powers, so they were left laughing for the rest of their life despite being unhappy. But they also numbered about 4,500 people in Kaido's crew, and below them still was another tier called the waiters. Now these were low-level foot soldiers of the crew who hadn't had the chance to take a smile fruit yet and were waiting on their chance to try and gain animal powers. Aside from the waiters, we then also had the numbers, and this was a group of 10 former scientific subjects who underwent gigantification experiments on Punk Hazard. And this was an attempt to try and recreate an ancient giant race, but they were still deemed failures for some reason. And finally, we have the Marys. Now, although they're the weakest part of Kaido's crew, they are the most important because they have the function of being vigilant and watchful and gathering intelligence all throughout Kaido's areas and network. They consist of human and cyborg animals, all with a special paper mask shaped like an eye covering their face, and this allows them to broadcast everything they see and hear to every other Mary and the single Mary where they originate their power from. But with all that said, friends, these are some of the biggest crews that have ever been featured in the One Piece story. So we have to wonder that using those as comparison, could Luffy manage to obtain a crew and grand fleet larger than all of those that we talked about, or even other previous Yonko, thus forming the largest fleet among any pirate crew probably in history? And considering the scale of the battle that awaits them, and who knows what Imu-sama and the rest of the Gorosei have in store for our favorite rubber captain. So it might be necessary to even bring some of the crews that we've talked about into the fold, just because the fate of the world hangs in the balance. But with all that said, we'd now love to know what you think about it. Were there any other crews that we missed that you'd love for us to discuss here on the channel? And also, which of the crews that we mentioned was your favorite and why? Let us know what you think in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video today, we'd like to thank all of you so much for watching, especially those of you who've made it here to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, make sure you give us a like and hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I hope to see you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.